Remember, this show is PG-13, so you might hear a naughty word or two.
Today, our interview with Ashley Miles, the new head coach of Iowa State. We have news on the return of Bart Dulow, our precious, our favorite. Calamity Jane is back, and an update on the Paris Olympics where the police raided the Olympic headquarters. It is episode 20, the 26th episode of 2023, the week of 4th of July, and we put out our special extra episode on Simone's comeback last week, so we hope you enjoyed that. Simone competing at Classic. Welcome to the number one gymnastics podcast in the galaxy. I'm Jessica, and I'm here with Spencer from the Balance Beam Situation. Hope you enjoyed the double episode last week. We will be here this week for behind the scenes. Tell us all about your 4th of July vacation. We can talk more about Simone's comeback. 2 Olympic champions competing at the same meet. Hasn't happened since the Soviet Union. Hasn't happened since the 50s. Oh, it's so exciting. Okay, so now we'll discuss a woman who needs no introduction, an Alabama legend who took over the Iowa State program after the associate head coach was placed on administrative leave and the head coach's contract was not renewed. With so many accolades, it hurts. That's how many she has. One of the growing list of Black women leading college gymnastics programs. Spencer.
You sat down, talked with Ashley Miles, who, if you don't know, world bronze medalist, 2001 with the U.S. team, 4-time NCAA individual champion, 11 career perfect 10s in her NCAA career, including 2 during Super 6 in 2005, and she is the new head coach of the Iowa State women's gymnastics team. So let's listen to that interview now.
Let's start with some rapid fire questions first, so I'm going to give them to you. Answer as fast as you can on these.
Okay.
All right,
Got
ready? Here we go. Okay, gymnastics idol when you were a kid.
Elena Produnova.
Me too.
I was obsessed with her.
Oh my
She's
God.
like everything that gymnastics should be. Oh my gosh.
This is a prayer candle.
I did not know that you were like such a fan, but she is like my all-time, like even like the eyebrow thing, like that she was like a warrior, and her visually she was bigger than what she was.
Yes.
Like when I found out that she was like 4'11".
I know, she's tiny.
like she's teeny tiny, but she does not come across that way at all when you watch her compete. So yeah, I've always been obsessed with her.
Oh my God, same, totally. Oh, now I know why we get along so well. You have to read Kyle Schufeld's book because he talks about his stories with Produnova in there.
Oh wow, okay,
yeah.
Well
okay. All right, favorite teammate in Elite?
Didn't have one.
You weren't really ever on a team.
It's competitive. It's an individual sport, like at that point in time, and I just got to be honest. Yeah, I wouldn't say that there's anybody that I was like my favorite. Like we were there together, like in the trenches, like training hard, but we all wanted to be the best. So yeah, I don't have one.
How about in college?
Oh man, see, that's different. This is supposed to be rapid. So Alexis Brion.
And who is your coaching idol in the past or now?
I probably would have to say I got to go with what I know. And there are 4. Sarah Patterson, Valerie Kondo-Skilled, Jay Clark, and Suzanne Yocklin.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's top list.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're all just so unique, just in their journey and what they did for their respective programs. Jay obviously still in coaching at LSU and arguably probably one of the best recruiters in the business, you can say. So yeah, that's what those answers. I mean, you could talk about each of them, I think, individually forever, and just what they bring to the table. I mean, there's so much to learn from each of those coaches.
For sure. What was the hardest skill for you to learn when you were little?
Kips. But once you get it, right? Yep. So yeah, but I would say like it was a process, like going throughout the progressions, the drills. It definitely had to just be like simple kip on bars.
You're not the only person who has said that the kip was the hardest one to learn.
Oh, that's good to know. I'm not embarrassed now.
No, so many gymnasts, like current world champions, said that too. Hardest skill to learn mentally?
Ooh, back handspring on balance beam. terrified of them.
Yep.
I would stand there all day, like I'm not going to do it because I'm fearful. Back handspring layouts, back handspring layout, like gainer back handspring, tuck fulls. I do them all day, but ask me to do a back handspring, and like I'll look at you like you're crazy and tell you no.
Totally relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
How did you decide that you wanted to go elite, or it just happened?
I think my goal. So initially, it was probably like, ooh, like look at the big girls like over there doing like all the fun stuff. Like I want to do what they do. And as I progressed, I don't ever think that it was like a decision. I just think it was what it was. Like I progressed and got better very quickly. I had a really, good coach that honed in on like basics and foundation. I could throw all the big stuff, but my gymnastics was hideous. So I did like level 9, I think 2 years. I skipped lots of levels. I guess that was a thing, back then. And I did level 9 2 years. The first year I sucked. I was horrible. And then like the second year, level 9, I remember winning everything at state, like vault bars, beam floor, and all around. Mm-hmm. So again, I was fearless, which I think was a really good thing when you're just starting out, because then you hit that wall, right? Where you think like, oh my goodness, like if I do this, like this could happen. And then there goes that journey of figuring out how to overcome fear and work through that. So I'm glad that I was fearless young. So just less things to kind of be fearful of later.
Yep. How is you're like, you made the world team in 2001, and that was like the era of still going to the Karolyi camp, and that's where national team camp was, and it was the year after the Olympics where Bella got fired, essentially, for how he treated the team. What was it like? What was your first experience like going to the ranch? What do you remember?
I remember it being tough. I remember it being not fun, very intense. You feel kind of like you're under a microscope. They're watching everything you do. And just, really being just like a grind and just kind of brutal. That's kind of like very general, but that's really like how it was. Like, you were there and you just had to be really intentional and really mindful of, I've always like, how are you being perceived? Right? Like, how are you reacting to corrections? Like, how is your consistency? Like, how are you stepping up, when it's time to show?
Yeah.
I was always happy when it was over, for sure.
Another common answer to that.
It was hot. It was hot too. Very hot. I'm from Texas, but that was a new level.
Marta always appeared to be like super affectionate towards you. Like she like hugged you and stuff. And I couldn't even see her do the whole nails on the back of the neck thing. Was that what it appeared to be?
That's a very interesting perspective. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that to me before.
I don't think I've ever said that to anyone before.
Yeah, kudos to me, right? Like that I get that feedback or that perception, but nails, I think I was too big for her to put her nails on the back of the neck, right? I was way too tall for that. So definitely couldn't see that happening. But it just, again, like one of her favorite sayings, I don't know if you've ever heard anybody say this, but it is what it is. Like she always would say. And that's kind of how I feel. It kind of was what it was. Like I always felt like as an elite gymnast, like around that time, like that was one of my major accomplishments, making, the 2001 World Championship team. I'm so proud of that. Like I wasn't an alternate. I earned that spot. But I always kind of felt like I was tolerated, right? Like it was just, I was good. They needed powerful gymnasts, good vaulters, good floor exercise. And I actually, was one of the few that I competed 3 events, in team finals. I competed everything but beam. So again, like I'm proud of that. And I would say I'd be more curious to know what Marta would say about me now, if she even remembers me. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would like to think that I'm unforgettable, but maybe not. Like, I don't know.
Okay. Do you have any personal feelings about double tuck jumps? Are they the wolf turn of today?
That's like a weird question.
I feel like fans hated them because they're just so hard to make look pretty.
Well,
like a wolf turn.
Okay, so that's a thing. I definitely agree with describing it as like the wolf turn of today. Everybody did them. I did them. I think I did like a full turn with a leg extended out, right, in like combination into a tuck double jump. I think I did pretty good, but I feel like it's one of those skills that like either you do it well or don't do it, right? It's few far in between. Like there really is no in between. It's either ugly or you do an okay job. I mean, it's a difficult like jump. So, I mean, yeah, kudos to somebody that can execute it properly and do it well. You don't see them a lot. Maybe I'll have to try to find somebody to bring it back.
Yes.
Just for you. For you. Just for the gymniverse, whatever it's called.
If they can make it like an Aaliyah Finnegan wolf turn, then,
then we're okay with it.
Yeah. But you actually had your toes pointed, which most people couldn't pull off in a double tuck jump. So
thank you. That's so like flattering to hear, like, somebody saying good things about my jumps. Now, granted, it wasn't like a split, but I had good active flexibility. Like, I wasn't the most flexible, but I had active flexibility. I could get to 180, right? I could do a straddle. I could do the splits. So that's what counts. Like,
that is.
You get the good picture.
Yes. What I want to know, like, kind of what your memories are of that 2001 Worlds, besides bringing home a medal and earning your spot and competing on 3 out of the 4 events and finals, like, and making vault finals too. Like, I mean, that was like Mohini, Tasha Schweikert, Raducan, the eventual true Olympic champion, regardless of medication. Khorkina was there. Like, what do you remember about it?
It was an amazing experience. Again, of course, it was very much focused, and you're kind of, kept in that little bubble. There's not a lot of outside of training and practicing and competing. But, I just remember we made our own fun. I was with some really good athletes there, some really good teammates at World Championship. And my experience was a lot of fun, making vault finals, obviously. Medaling. I think we were like the first team to medal in a very long time. Like that bronze medal is like, yes. Like I'm proud of that thing. And then to make vault finals again, like to be up there with like Khorkina, like it was really cool. Like it was just really fun to just know. I think I got 8th. I'm 8th in the world on vault. Like who can say that? That's pretty cool.
I want to talk about your vault run for a moment. Because I've watched it a lot because all I've done is watch videos of you for a week. So I feel like, I know Sam Peshek has talked about this before, that she was like afraid of her own power sometimes and she had to really learn to control it. And I watch your vault run and it almost seems like you're like, I'm just going to leave my feet a little bit down here and not lift my knees very much. Because if I actually run, I will knock this thing over and I won't be able to control it. Like, was it something you were afraid of? Is it something you had to like take it down a notch for vault?
It definitely wasn't something that I was afraid of. I think my run, I guess I kind of see what you're saying. Like, I don't need like track athlete run, right? Like, like knees up high. So I guess it was more like technical. We did in my gym growing up or coming up, we did a lot of running drills, deer runs, the whole 9. So it was very important. It was pretty much always the same, like the same number of steps, same cadence. I just tried to really keep it consistent. Didn't do the whole weird. I always thought it was weird, like the arm swing thing,
Yes.
that some people do where they go forward and back. Like, I just feel like that looks like it would just kill all your momentum, like going into it. But it works for some people. And so there's great vaulters that have that technique. But, for me, the run was always just so important. And I just embraced it. And I just felt like for vault, it's always about like go big, get a good block and find the landing, right? I mean, all the stuff in between, the position, the height, like that awareness is important. But if you can do those things, I think you're going to be considered a pretty good vaulter.
Speaking of like your amazing power, I imagine there are a bunch of skills that you trained and never competed, like maybe an Amanar, or did you ever try any double flipping vaults or on any other event?
And I was terrified of them. The double flipping vaults, I was so out on that. For whatever reason, I just did not like them. I did train double Arabian in the layout position on floor.
Ooh.
Believe it or not, and never competed that. So that's kind of a fun one. That was a little scary, but because obviously it's it's stretch, and then I'm super tall too, which people ask me about that all the time, like my height in my gymnastics.
Yeah.
And for me, it was never a weird thing because it was my body. So I was just like everybody else. If you go back and look at when I was young competing, I was a little small, little tiny thing too, but I guess puberty comes and, I just shot up and grew 4 or 5 inches and I just had to adjust. But I think I was so strong and I had such good coaching in those foundational items that I was able to adjust. I didn't really have as big of a distraction or disruption with my training when I grew.
Mm-hmm. It's also a really healthy sign that you actually reached your full height during that time period, because when people don't get their period and don't grow until they stop elite, that's not supposed to happen. So
it's not, and you see that so much. So I always kind of consider myself lucky in that sense. And again, I think a lot of that I give credit to just my foundation of my coach and just how things, I wasn't introduced to I guess you would say the more what people think of that elite style coaching, really intense, until I left that gym and moved somewhere else. And the first thing they did, and I'm 13, 14 years old, is they weighed me and I'm like, what for? Why? I'm I was so confused, literally, why do you need to know how much I weigh?
Mm-hmm.
I'm already going to be heavier than everybody because I have way more muscle mass. So, it just, that took an interesting turn, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad that that shows something about you, that you're just this is dumb. That's how it affected you.
I had parents and, family that really, as an adult looking back with some of the experience that, I had a lot of the same things, but I was very well protected. There's a lot of things I know that happened amongst the adults, let's say, mm-hmm. that I just wasn't privy to, that they kept from me, which I think is a good thing. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm Black, I'm dark, I'm tall, I'm not the typical gymnast. There was a lot of people out there saying some pretty hateful things that I didn't hear because I wasn't exposed to that. They were not going to allow me to be affected by those things and, from those types of comments. So I'm thankful for that. And I think it put me in a position to be able to handle those types of things a lot better as I got older and mm-hmm. became aware of those things. It's I'm already so secure in myself that I could care less what you say and what you think. That says much more about them than it does about me. I don't have time to sit around and wonder what people that don't love me think about me.
Yes.
Who does that?
Yes. Can you share any, and if it's private family stuff, you don't have to, but what you found out later that was going on behind the scenes, or how the adults were protecting you? Did they talk to your coaches, talk to judges? I know other parents have talked about literally going up to judges afterward and saying, you just scored my gymnast who's Black, or my daughter who's Black different, and I'm going to show you how you did it. And
mm-hmm. I don't have any specific examples that I would share, I guess, or feel comfortable sharing.
I wanted to just talk about your height for a second, because you're only 5'7", right?
Yeah, I'm closer to 5'8". I think I'm a normal size human.
Yes.
That's actually a joke I make now because, coming into college and coaching, I do plan to learn how to spot more complex skills. Obviously I can do light spotting, a bump here, catch there, whatever. But I feel I have an advantage in that sense because I'm a normal sized person, and I'm very strong. So I'll learn the technique and then I think they'll feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. So I look forward to that. But my height to me, in normal life, I should say post gymnastics, I'm so used to always being the tallest one. It's just kind of is what it is. I stand out in that way. But I always made it work for me. I never, allowed myself to think that it was, a disadvantage, right? That I had this height. So, yeah.
How was your transition going from elite to college?
It was amazing. It was the best thing that happened to me, with gymnastics, because I was so done. Mm-hmm. I was sick of USA Gymnastics and the politics of it. Mm-hmm. And whatever they call it, the national team selection committee and that whole deal. Because there's so much that goes into that. It's part popularity contest, part if they like your coaches, part if they like you. They may be going for a certain look. You may work your ass off and show out at the camp and they decide they like somebody else better, but they were hurt and couldn't participate. So they decided to place them on the team instead of you. So I was done. Like, I didn't see myself staying for another cycle to try to make an Olympic team. And when I finally showed up on campus at Alabama, it was like an aha moment. Like, the best thing that ever could have happened was I was fresh off of, being in shape in season. So I didn't have that part to contend with, right? Which sometimes can happen. So I was lucky there. And then it was just about adjusting to being an unsupervised young adult and making decisions and, having fun. Like, I think a lot of times people forget, like, you don't get to college and forget gymnastics. It does happen. Athletes, they have those mental blocks, but for the most part, like, that's the easy part. It's everything else together, right? And learning how to adjust and just being able to be a part of a team where it's not about you. Like we talked about earlier, I didn't have any like favorite elite training teammate. Like, I want to beat you. Like, no, when you get to college, like, it's so different. You're doing it for her. You're doing it for that next person up. And that's so healthy. And it was fun. It was a good transition.
Why did you decide to become a commentator? How did that happen for college gymnastics?
So, like, I went into school, like, not knowing what the heck I wanted to do. I was super young. I graduated actually early, and I was only 17 when I got to Alabama. So, like, in terms of like majors, like, I thought maybe I wanted to go to law school one day, and took one class, and that died very quickly. I was like, no, that's not for me. Like, I'm not like not strong academically, but like, it just definitely wasn't the path I wanted to take. But I've always liked, and then I thought maybe I wanted to be like a meteorologist. Isn't that like the funniest thing ever?
Lawyer or meteorologist?
Yeah, because I've just always been very interested in like weather and TV. Like, so those two things together, I'm like, TV, weather, yes. Like, but that's not easy either. Not saying that I was looking for something easy, but really just trying to figure it out. So I landed in communications, in advertising. Got my degree in advertising, and again, really wanted to do something in TV, whether it be like, sports, like a sideline report for football, whatever, because I like other sports too. And just got the opportunity, like locally there at Alabama, to do some home meets. Like, had somebody ask me if I was interested, and I'm like, absolutely. And apparently I was a natural, like, at it, but I also learned a lot and just kind of grew. And that was something that kept me connected to the sport, like, in a big way. So everybody goes through that phase once you graduate, and you're just like kind of pissed, right? Mm. It's like 4, 3, 2, 1. These days, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for a lot of athletes. Yeah, and then it's like you're done, and like there's no professional gymnastics. There's nothing else you can do, and it's tough. I feel like it's tougher for gymnasts than it is for some other sports as well. So I did that, but then I also was like done with gymnastics in a sense. Like, I didn't want to be around it. I didn't want to like, go to practices or flip. So I went through that whole transition, and then, the commentating just kind of stuck. And I just continued to grow in that. And, when I always say when opportunity meets preparedness, like, then great things happen. And that's pretty much what happened with the commentating piece for me as well.
Is there anything specific that you wanted to change about how like athletes are discussed or how the routines are discussed? Or is there anything that was like a pet peeve for you watching gymnastics that you wanted to change?
When people get on there and talk about themselves the whole time was kind of annoying to me. Like, I think it's fine. Like, if you're doing it, like when I first started out for like for WVUA or whatever, like the local campus station, and you can be a homer because like you're just there literally to like prop up and talk about Alabama or your team. Mm-hmm. But I think it's really important if the goal is to bring gymnastics to the broad spectrum of people, to grow the sport and viewership. Let's be honest, gymnastics is a very confusing sport. It's not easy to understand. Mm-hmm. So for those fans that may just be like tuning in, you only get a few seconds really to kind of catch them. So you want to keep it simple. You want to be straightforward. You want to almost dumb it down to a sense. Mm-hmm. Like you don't have to get like, and so that may be annoying to like the very seasoned, like diehard gymnastics fans, but like they can do their own thing. They can watch the regional 4-box, right? Feed without the commentating and have a good time. You don't have to listen to like what we're saying. but yeah, so I mean, you said pet peeves, like I guess that was one. Sometimes you pick up when you listen to people for a while, like their habits of things that they say and how they compare, like maybe one type athlete to another, and it's kind of like you get to thinking like maybe they're not aware that they're doing that, like they're kind of being biased a little bit, like. And in college gymnastics too, is I just feel like it's so much more fun. Like there's different shapes, sizes, like energies, like colors, like it's just so much more like welcoming and broad. And I think it's just going to continue to get better and like more diverse in the sport. And I think we need that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've decided to go into coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Why did that happen? How did this come to be?
So when opportunity meets preparedness and a little bit of help, I had some really good people, some really strong people in my corner as well, just knowing that I wanted to get into this, just looking for the right opportunity. And really what it boils down to is I came to a point in my life. This is something that's personal that I don't mind sharing. But the goal was kind of always for my husband and I to grow our family, to have kids. Short version, went through all the things. Didn't seem like that's going to happen. Kind of had to pivot and move on. I was sick of being poked and prodded and nickeled and dimed to death, right? Trying to do that, trying to go through that process. And I'm leaving it in God's hands at this point. And so then I started thinking like for my life, I had a career that was very conducive to doing that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it would be the perfect setup, good income. Like, am I good at this? Yes. Do I love it? Absolutely not. But by God, like I put everything into like everything that I do, right? I'm not passionate about the car business and auto finance and all those things, but I can give you some really good advice if you're looking to buy a car though, right? I'm really good at building relationships and selling, which is, I think, a great skill set that kind of translates over. But getting back to actually answering your question and where I was going with that, I just started looking at my life and just thinking about what I'm passionate about. And that's always been gymnastics. Like I've always stayed connected to the sport through commentating, through choreography. And I just started putting it out there, right? That like, I want to do this, and just really kind of had to just put myself out there and wait for that opportunity to come along. And boy, did it.
Seriously.
I mean, boy, did it. Like, what a blessing. What a fun time for me. And I feel like I have so much to offer in terms of leadership, in terms of experience. And I just really hope to kind of bring all that to the forefront and tie all that into the way I coach, the way I build this program here at Iowa State University. It's a dream come true. Every day I wake up, I know this is what I'm meant to do and at this point in my life and what I should be doing.
I love that you have talked about that experience that you have, because I feel like there's so many people that get into coaching and they do it right out of college, and they haven't had that experience of like going into like a corporate workplace or like having those different like, and especially like professional expectations in a different setting. And I wonder when an athlete is finished at Iowa State, so you recruit them, come in as a freshman, they graduate. What do you want them to look back and say about having been coached by you and about the program?
Oh, I want them to say that they experienced the joys of a winning culture. I mean, I want them to look back and feel that they learned something in this transition, because this is just a little blip, right? This is just another fun time, a phase. This is, they're still like in a little bubble here, but inside that bubble, they have so much. They have so many resources, so many people that are focused in on their success. I think that once they decide, what it is they want to do, I mean, that's what I'm there for. You let me know what you want and we'll figure out a plan to get you there, right? And to get you prepared for that. So I want them to look back and just be able to talk to people about the experience they had. I also want them to look back and want to give back, as an alumni. I mean, that's another, I think, huge goal. I mean, there's so many, connections to be made and things that you can hone in on and that can benefit like your program. So like, that's kind of my goal. I want a family. I want them to feel like they are truly a part of a family that stays with them moving forward as they keep transitioning into these phases of life. Right.
As someone who's coming into coaching, obviously like done gymnastics your whole life, you've coached at camps and stuff like that and done choreography, but how are you going to fill the gaps in your knowledge going forward?
Yeah, definitely. The coaching piece is something that I'll definitely have to grow into in terms of my quickness, right? So can I make corrections? Like, absolutely. I mean, I can look at a skill like I've done it. So like I know, but I may not be as quick like with the feedback as a coach that's seasoned that's done it, for a very long time. So that's something I'm already starting to work on. It's actually kind of funny. It's just, it's open gym right now because everything's voluntary, right? In the summer. So if there's a correction, I find myself, I'll be standing next to the assistant coach, Haley, and I'll say something about the skill and then she'll call out like the correction. And to me, I'm like, oh, that's helping me a lot because like, I see what I should say. Mm-hmm. And then I can be like a lot quicker with it. And eventually, I'll have my own way and my own way to communicate what those are. But I think, that piece in terms of filling the gaps, like my pathway to get here, not traditional, like I get that. But lucky for me, I have a lot of support, a lot of people that are rooting for me to succeed. And I usually do succeed at things that I put my mind to.
You definitely do.
And I think I also have one up on the fact that what I talked about earlier, I really don't care what people that don't know me have to say if it's not positive. So I'll just keep it moving and show you, right? I'm that type of person.
Yep. A lot of teams say like their ultimate goal is, to win championships. So is that the ultimate goal?
Yeah. I mean, I think that has to be. But I also think it's something that like you'll grow into, especially in the situation that I'm in now. Like I have this great opportunity. We've got a great group of athletes. And I mean, that's one of the things that I saw as soon as I got here. I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, okay, I'm not walking into anything crazy. These girls are good. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, they've been like a mid-level, I guess, what they call program for years. I mean, last year was a total disaster, right? Like not what they do in years past, not what they have done, definitely wasn't up to level, but they went through a lot. They had a lot going on here, with the previous coaching staff. And I think that I have an opportunity because really what they need is to be built up. I mean, to be coached up, and to have expectations set for them, right? Like, success isn't just making it to the tournament, right? To championships. Like you got to have like more specific goals and a plan for how you get there. So I think that's what I'll bring to the table and why this opportunity is so huge.
So when you're out recruiting coming up, my final question for you here, I want to thank you so much for your time because I know you have so much to do and you're building a program and you're starting to recruit and all that. Who are you looking for?
Okay. So first of all, I'm so excited about this, like, getting out like on the road and like recruiting. So traveling for something that you're passionate about, like again, when you're doing something that you love, it doesn't feel like a job. And that's kind of how I feel every day. Like I'm tired, like I'm wore out, like there's so many things, like I'm learning new things. I don't know everything. But like I'm loving every minute of it. So when I'm out on the road, I'm looking for those kids that have a desire to compete and a desire to be a good teammate and a desire to just be a decent human being. Right. And a desire to have that good, solid college experience. I mean, that's like my ultimate goal. I want these student athletes to come through here and get what they deserve. Like they deserve to have a positive, fun, fulfilling, successful college career. I mean, there's no reason why it can't be that and why it shouldn't be fun. Like, are we going to work hard? Heck yeah, we're going to work hard. We're going to grind it out. Like, we're going to get it done, but we're going to have fun while we do it. And I think that that's realistic. And that's what I want for these student athletes.
Thank you so much for your time, and I'm so excited to watch. Already a fan of Iowa State, and I'm so excited to see what happens with you there.
Yay, go Cyclones!
Go Cyclones!
Yes.
Thank you so much to Ashley Miles. It was such a pleasure to talk to her. Such an interesting perspective, and I am so excited to see what happens at Iowa State. I'm excited for this program now. Summer meets are coming up and we have merch for you. Do you need Simone gear? One of the great things about Simone is she's never come down on with copyright stuff for fans who make fan gear for her, and we have that in our store. So you can check it out at gymcastic.com at the store. If you're a Club Gym Nerd member, you get a one-time discount when you join. Also, we need your help for some upcoming episodes. What is your craziest meet story? The wildest thing that you ever saw happen at a meet or happen to you? Also, what's the weirdest, most unusual place you trained or you trained on? Post them in the forum because we're doing episodes on those. Also, people are selling tickets to the sold-out US Classic in the forum at gymcastic.com. So check it out if you need tickets since it's sold out. Thanks to everyone for your support, and we will see you on noon Pacific for Behind the Scenes.
Club Gym Nerd, you get discounts and first dibs on live show tickets, an extra whole podcast every week, athlete dossiers for major competitions, code guides, options to commission your own segments. It also makes a great gift. Check it out at gymcastic.com at the Join the Club tab.
Some people just like to give us no strings attached money. They don't want to bother with joining Club Gym Nerd, and so they just donate. You can find our donate button for a no strings attached donation at the bottom of the club page at gymcastic.com/club. Let's talk about some of the gymnastics that has happened. We did obviously our extensive episode on all the scenarios for Simone's comeback and the historic return at US Classic August 5th of Suni and Simone Biles, two Olympic champions competing together at the same competition. So what is happening in the world? What do we need to be aware of? What scores do Suni and Simone need to aim for if they want to keep up to snuff with everyone else?
Yeah,
best in the world.
The summer season is here. It's a good time for a best in the world update. So on bars at the Asian Championships, we had Chu Qian of China, who scored a 15.233 with a 6.7 difficulty. So that 15.233 is our top right now at international competitions. Domestically, Kalia Nemour, representing Algeria, scored a 15.35 at the French Domestic League on bars. She also scored a 15.066 at the African Championships with, though, a 6.9 difficulty score where she didn't get credit for everything. So that's what we're looking at right now as the bars goal. On beam at the Asian Championships, Zhang Qingying of China scored a 14.833 with a 6.6 difficulty. We've also seen domestically at Chinese Nationals, Chu Qian scored a 14.9 with a 6.8 difficulty and a back handspring Arabian series. So that's the standard we're looking at on beam. On floor at Pan Am's, Joss Robertson of the United States had a 6.1 difficulty score and a 14.1 total, which was the top of the Continental Championship. She also got a 6.2 D score at Stuttgart earlier in the year. On vault, it's kind of a Rudy fest these days. Top single vault score at the Continental Championships was Yo So-jung of South Korea with a 14.433 for her Rudy, which we've also seen from Colleen Deviar, Alexa Moreno, Lisa Valen. It's all about the Rudies. But I think vault is the place where, there's still room. Like 14.433, there's room for contenders to emerge who haven't competed yet in 2023 Elite to, soon have the highest vault score in the year or in the world this year.
Andrade, Jade, Simone. Yeah. I think
that's
going to change. And we did talk about, speaking of floor, we did talk about the potential for Simone to have a 7-1.
Her top difficulty from 2021 would now be 7-1 under this year's code. So if we're talking about, I think that reinforces it well, because if we're talking about top in the world this year being 6-1, 6-2, Simone has a point. Simone has a fall on that if she's,
Yes.
I don't expect her to be competing like the full triple-double, double-double difficulty right away, but this is the potential.
Yeah. I would expect her. I mean, I'm wondering if she'll even do all around, or if SUNY will even do all around. Or they'll just do 2 or 3 events at Classic. Or they'll do a downgraded difficulty just to show it at Classic and get back out there. But so those are the scores, everyone.
The people will have to wait for our US Classic episode preview before the
Yes.
competition for our full thoughts on that.
I'm so excited, you guys! Oh my god! Okay. Whew, I'm so excited for Classic. I mean, I've been excited for Classic for a long time, which you guys all know, especially if you listen to Behind the Scenes every week, But this is like, how am I going to sleep? I don't know. Okay, I want to talk about Dutch championships because our beloved Bart Derlo unretired in his very Chuso-ness, and he made high bar finals, and this is how it went. Spencer, can you please describe, if you're watching along, what happened?
First of all, I need to describe the wonder that is watching Bart Derlo compete again, and look at how many people are recording this routine on their phones. Like, this is it's a big deal. It's very important and special. So he does a Coleman to Kovac combination, falls, and then in his splendor, realizes, I am Bart. I don't have to get up right away. I am going to knit a sweater while on the floor here. I'm going to cook an omelet. I'm gonna take my tape off. I'm gonna weave a new set of grips from scratch so I can put them on and continue taping before I resume my routine. I'm still gonna be on the ground. I'm still gonna wait.
He's literally still on the ground this whole time, you guys.
I'm gonna retape. I'm gonna think about it, and then maybe I'll get up, and rechalk and start my routine. So, is this a deduction? Yes, in the code. Now, you're not allowed to intentionally, because the timing, the fall timing starts when you get up. Gymnasts used to then, like Bart is doing here, intentionally stay on the ground for forever to stop the fall clock from starting. You can't intentionally stay on the ground anymore and just do your grips for a while. It's a 3/10 deduction. No one cares.
Bart certainly
no
doesn't
one cares.
care. Yeah.
No.
I mean, the purpose...
That's the longest I've ever seen. Like, we have seen catastrophic injuries where gymnasts didn't stay on the ground for this long after a fall. It was a magical, magical moment.
This is the magic of Bart. He's like, I am going to be Bart wherever I go. I don't care that your gymnastics meet is happening at the same time. This is what we love about Bart. I love that, the purpose of the stay on the ground and then the clock won't start was to let people actually assess if they were injured or not. But if you're clearly not injured, so you sit up and, knit a sweater, then, literally, Suni's appearance on Top Chef was shorter than the time that that Bart is on the ground fixing his grips. Oh my god, I love it so much.
Also, he finished third all around, by the way.
To his buddy Casimir Schmidt, who won.
Mm-hmm.
Who, you guys, Casimir was out for a long time because he had a lot of health issues, and he is so good. He did so well at Worlds last year. And so if you're looking for some tattooed gymnastics with personality on the men's side, the Netherlands has it.
Naomi Visser also won the all-around title for the women with a score in the 52s. Exciting times for the Dutch women's team. They medaled as a team at Euros. If they have Thora didn't compete at nationals, but if they have Thora, Sanne Fairman, who we talked about her sights to Bahardwaj combination, which is very exciting. So lots of potential on this team if everyone is healthy and competing at the same time for the Dutch women, which is always the question. We'll see, but a potentially very high-scoring Worlds team they are putting together right now.
Yep. It's time for Gymternet news. So University of Utah Gymnastics meet is heading to South Korea. So we mentioned a couple months ago how Utah was going to go overseas, and they were doing like a fundraiser for it, I think. Is that what they were doing? And so they're going to go from June 28th to June 3rd, and they are going to do
Actually, June 20th to July 3rd. They're not going to go back. So when you cross the international, there's a weird thing where you cross the international date line doesn't mean you go back in time. Like a month. It doesn't, like, you don't jump back a month and then start the month again. Actually,
that's not how it works. Oh my
no,
god,
that's not how it works.
Thank you so much for catching that, Spencer. So they're going to do an exhibition meet against some Korean teams. They're going to do some gymnastics classes with local kids. They're going to meet and greets. And they're going to meet with some athletes who want to, do college athletics in the U.S. So I guess Utah has a campus in South Korea. And so this explains the trip to South Korea, because I was like, South Korea. But lots of colleges have this. Like, they have their international campus in London and Dubai and da-da-da-da. So that's what they're doing. So that's pretty cool. I like that. So the police raided the offices of the 2024 Paris Olympics. Normal thing to happen.
Normal happenings.
Right.
Actually, it kind of is. Like, when it comes to the Olympics, you're like, actually, just TikTok, waiting for it.
Of course they did. So they're way ahead of schedule in suspecting a corruption going on. They're doing a corruption.
The first time an Olympics has ever been ahead of schedule.
Remember how Salt Lake City Olympics, it took them like till way after the Olympics to actually like arrest people and get all the corruption done in the US. So Paris, way ahead of schedule. So we'll keep you updated on what happens with that. Aly Raisman gave an interview where she discussed how competing under the arena lights made her migraines worse. And if anybody's had a migraine, you know how, like, have you ever had a migraine, Spencer?
No.
Oh my God. I've had like probably 3 in my life. And it's only when I'm like, you know what they come from? They come from breakups or like separations. Like, if I'm not going to see my beloved for a long period of time, I get that's literally what brings them on. I have emotional relationship migraines. So she talked about her symptoms getting worse because of the lights, and what, like, when I have a migraine, the first thing is like, I have to like put something over my face. Just closing your eyes is not enough. You have to be like in total darkness. So I can't even imagine competing with a migraine, let alone being good when you compete with a migraine. So as usual, she's amazing. She mentioned it to doctors and they dismissed the symptoms, then misdiagnosed her with anxiety or depression until she finally learned it was chronic migraines. Oh my God. You guys, how many women have been told, oh, it's your emotions, it's anxiety, it's not anything else that it possibly could be? Oh, so if you relate to this, raise your hand. Trinity Thomas is back, but not in the way you think she is, Spencer.
You mean she didn't get another COVID year? Why not?
No, I was sure they'd give her the 100th year, but they did not. So she's
just a, dear gymnastics, I'm Trinity Thomas. Can I have another year? And everyone would be like, yeah.
And Trinity announced, per Inside Gymnastics, that she is going back to elite, with her goal being the Paris Olympics. So she already has a master's degree from University of Florida, and now she's going to do another one in entrepreneurship. And we already knew she was going to assistant coach the Gators team. So that is very exciting that she'll still be around. Arkansas has added Kyla Bryant as assistant coach. Remember Kyla Bryant at Stanford? Never a dull moment with Kyla Bryant. Remember the time that she gainer double backed onto the balance beam as a dismount?
Sure do.
Yeah, it's one of our favorites.
And if I ever did, I wouldn't be allowed to, because you talk about it all the time because it's one of your favorite things.
I'm just like, how did you survive? And she's amazing and a great performer. So I'm so excited. I feel like she's going to add a lot of pizzazz to that team. Has a lot of what is the word that I'm looking for? Cerebral. Except Chris Brooks
adds quite a bit of pizzazz.
Yes. They have serious
That's his
elites.
middle name, actually. It's Chris Pizzazz Brooks. Did you know that?
I did, actually. So she's going to balance the pizzazz of Chris Brooks.
So now you've got like 2 serious elites and 2 pizzazzis.
Yes, exactly. It's
not
which
to
is
say
the
Chris
right
Brooks
balance.
wasn't also a serious elite, but
right.
sillier.
I mean, was he though? Remember that time that he fell on his face?
Sure do.
He fell on his face guys, literally, he just landed on his face, just standing there. It's one of the greatest moments in gymnastics. Okay. Auburn has added
just standing there.
Well, he was going to do a prone fall or a jump to prone, whatever they call it in men's gymnastics, which is like, you know.
And he ended up kind of doing the worm. It's fine.
I mean, gymnastics falls are always funny, but you just don't expect that to happen. And he was also shocked. I think too pissed to appreciate how funny it was at the time. But okay, Auburn has added 2 transfers, so they get Madeline Crow from Georgia and Lilia Smith from Kentucky. And Kensley has launched a new men's gymnastics website. So it's called Neutral Deductions, neutraldeductions.com. And one of the things that we learned earlier this week, very excited about it, is that, are you ready for this, Spencer?
No.
All of your dreams might be coming true.
What?
Yeah. There's a proposal. It is not passed. No one has said yes to it. There's a proposal to add a choreographed artistry pass on men's floor.
Game changer.
Will it actually happen? Will this pass?
No.
Never in a million years. No.
Hopefully there'll be something. I'll take anything.
Yeah. Is it more likely that they will have a whole pass as a requirement, or that they'll be like, you have to do something in the corners before your tumbling passes?
I mean, I'd be fine with just like, it's not all just like strength hold or flares. Like you have to do something else.
Yeah. I like the idea of a whole pass more than I like, be like the British used to be and do something creative in the corners. Oh, I miss those British routines so much. So anyway, check out Kensley's site, neutraldeductions.com. All right. So I hope you guys had a wonderful holiday, or it's continuing it and you're listening to this from a beach or lakeside or somewhere where you're enjoying yourself very much over the holiday. And don't forget to listen to the Simone Biles episode from last week, where we talked all about her comeback and all the things and the routine and the historicness and when the last time this ever happened and all of that stuff. And we will see you on Behind the Scenes this Friday at noon Pacific, where I believe on that Behind the Scenes is when we will reveal the winner of our commission giveaway, because that will be that episode is for Club Gym Nerd members, and we're giving that away. So be there, and we'll also send the winner an email so that you know. But we'll see you Friday at noon Pacific. That's July 7th. And thank you so much for listening. And we will see you guys next week for a regular episode, Friday, noon Pacific. I've said that like 4 times, so I want to make sure you guys know we're not going on vacation. We're here for you, so you can listen on your vacation. And thank you so much for listening. Thank you to all our Club Gym Nerd members. Remember to take off on gay, split on rights, and thank you for listening. See you guys on Friday at noon Pacific for Behind the Scenes. Marissa King, also a
former Gator. Is that where you're going?
Thank you. I was like, future. Right. She's creating a future Gator, possibly.
Gator.
Who was on the British gymnastics team, British Olympian. She is now pregnant and has been named to the Nebraska women's gymnastics team. So she's not named to the
Jessica.
Jesus Christ! This is where sexism comes from.
The news was that she's pregnant and not the job that she got.
Hold on, I'm re-recording this. This show is created, executive produced, edited, audio engineered, and published by me, Jessica O'Byrne.
Managing editor in charge of show notes, podcast content, and wrangling over enthusiasm is Spencer Barnes.
Our news editor is Uncle Tim of gymnastics-history.com.
And customer service, IT, Gymternet news, and additional production services are provided by Steve Cooper, aka Fact Check.